So thank you very much for joining us, everybody. This webinar is entitled The AI Advantage, Smarter Service, Real ROI. I'm Steve Howarth, CEO of Teleware, and I'm joined by Sales and Marketing Director Nick Reeks.
Hello.
And your background, Nick, just so that everybody is aware, was the Group Operations Director at Teleware. So you spent many years running our service and operations teams prior to moving into sales.
That's correct, Steve. Yeah.
So hopefully you're the right guy for the job today. So let's dive straight in. I just really want to set the scene, really. I'm sure everybody on the call knows what challenges they've got, but so we can just kind of tee up the later session. What are some of the biggest frustrations you see in the service team and that service managers are facing today that we can help with?
Well, it all goes back to CSAT score, but that is combined by, are we taking all the calls? Are we answering them rather than going to voicemail? Is there a lot of wait time in customer queues? That type of thing is frustrations of a typical customer ringing into a typical service operations.
And obviously a little bit more than just phone calls now as well, which is obviously been happening for a long time. But interestingly, that's one of the ways in which customer expectations have changed, I guess. But just touch on those customer expectation changes and what that adds to the challenges of service management today.
Sure. The modern customer would expect, first of all, to be answered instantaneously, and they want to contact suppliers by various different mediums. That could be WhatsApp, it could be Instagram, Facebook, live chat through the website. All those different types of things go on, particularly in the smaller end of the marketplace.
And a lot of these things, there's big contact centres have had lots and lots of very sophisticated tools for a while. Is there any differences in the challenges in that small and medium-sized business, or are they pretty much the same?
The challenges are the same, but the budgets are not the same. The big corporate organisations can spend a lot of money per user, per agent on contact centre functionality. The smaller end of the scale, where most of our business in the UK are, the sort of 50 to 250 have a price restraint, so they're looking for solutions that are competitively priced but give the really good functionality to service their customers.
And I guess in some respects, we're looking at people being more, they're not necessarily all 24/7 in the contact centre, they're spread out around some of the companies as well, aren't they? The wider business, I should say. So I guess that adds further complexity and challenges.
It does indeed, but everybody wants instant responses all the time. And it really doesn't matter whether it's a small service team, a big contact centre. We've come to now expect instant results.
So with that in mind, why is it then difficult? Why do we need things like AI and these tools? What's so difficult about scaling service without just adding more headcount?
Well, think of the working days. Most companies are working from 9 till 5:30, but the world doesn't go to sleep at that time, and their customers want to interact outside those hours, and you can't expect smaller businesses to man 24/7, so there needs solutions around there, and this is where the likes of AI and automation come in to help that.
Yeah, particularly if you're trying to cover holidays and 24/7's 3 shifts, isn't it, at that point? So,
absolutely.
Are there any kind of examples where you see this in practice? Customers have come to us with this exact problem, as it were, in terms of wanting to extend hours, not having the headcount budget. Maybe they're using, are there alternatives like outsourcing? Why would they not just use a third party at that point?
Outsourcing has happened for the last decades, but it's expensive to set up. It doesn't give us reliable as a service. So now with the introduction of automation and AI, the uptake is much greater because the return on investment by bringing these solutions in is much better, and you can control it and change it very quickly and instantly.
Okay, good. So, title of the webinar, the AI advantage. So, what does the AI advantage mean to you?
Great question, Steve. Well, there's a few things that we work on. The solution that we offer out would mean that we've got transcribed calls, summary of the calls, and instantly put into a CRM, which, if you think of a call being 10 minutes long and notes been 10 minutes to take, you wouldn't need to do that anymore. The second 10 minutes would go straight to the CRM, so the agents are 50% more productive. Not just that though, if an agent's not available at all, AI can take that call and have a conversation in natural language and solve a lot of the...
You mean speak to the customer directly itself?
Absolutely, yeah. So when we're asked about solutions like this, it's taking the mundane tasks away from the customer service teams.
How's that different than traditional IVR systems that we've had for years, where customers will be handled to automate that bit? Obviously, it's never been particularly popular with the customer, although it saved money for the business. So how is this different to that?
Well, the results are much different. First and foremost, IVRs are difficult to set up and very clunky to change and don't give the results that they want. We've all been frustrated of going through a tree of different branches of going from department to department and not getting what you want. Whereas if you're working in the modern AI elements of this, it's all prompt based. So you can actually change it and download knowledge into it. That can then give you very sophisticated, intelligent answers in natural language, and you're almost like speaking to a human being, apart from it's got so much information it can store more than the human brain.
So I can just ask you a question and get an answer rather than have to worry about where to go to get that answer. It'll just respond instantly with it.
Absolutely, and that's what people want and that's what they expect. And talking to AI, now it's become this, it's such a natural language, it's much easier for people to have that conversation, and the confidence is growing within the consumers or the customers to have that conversation with AI rather than the person.
Sounds good. So what would be the impact of, like you mentioned a minute ago, extending hours with the use of AI? Obviously, if the AI can't handle everything, then what happens? What's the impact of extending hours? What's the benefit to using AI for that?
Well, you're 24/7, so AI can do what you ask it to do. If it means just giving information out for someone to call back, at least you've had that conversation. If you want them to continue and answer the query, that's another option. There could be things that all I wanted to do was unblock a credit card. All I wanted to do is reset my password.
So rather than just giving some information, you can integrate the back-end systems and get it to do the reset of the credit card or whatever.
And easily. It's not difficult to set up. These things can be set up in, it depends what it is, but you can do some things between 20 minutes and an hour, depending on the sophistication needed and what you need to integrate into.
Sounds wonderful. We now got brilliant service 24/7.
CSAT score improving.
And we mentioned earlier that it's not all about, but I know with voice AI that's the new thing that everyone's talking about, and rightly so. Yeah. But it's not all about voice, is it? There's other channels that customers are trying to come in on. You can automate some of those bits as well, I'm assuming.
Yeah, there is other channels out there that we offer, and they've been taken up. There is things like email that can be automated and answered back with not just I'll get back to you in one working day, giving you proper answers back. You can have live chats on websites, and you go into other mediums like WhatsApp and text message, SMS.
Brilliant. And obviously that's more convenient to the customer because they can just choose whatever they like coming in. So that sounds wonderful. So in terms of Teleware and what we do, maybe just for the benefit of some of the people on the webinar won't necessarily be accustomed to Teleware and who we are. Just describing in one or two sentences who we are, what we do.
Yeah, software development company that's been around for 30 years, integrating into Microsoft Teams natively. We would supercharge service teams so that make every conversation smarter, faster and more human. I know that doesn't describe it perfectly, but as we talk on, I think the description of that will come out in more detail.
So having smart conversations obviously would improve service there. In terms of the products and services that we do offer, you mentioned as a software developer, we have software, but Connect Pro being the family of products that we have designed to improve that customer conversation. Just give us a little touch on, not the detailed level of the feature, but some of the features there in terms of how that would help a modern service team.
Sure. So people have got Microsoft Teams, great product. There is other add-ons to Microsoft Teams, but particularly in the communications world, there's areas that's missing that we've filled up. So if you have for example, a service colleague that is working from home and not coming to the office because they could be a remote worker, you need to be able to train them, and they're going to be on calls quite quickly. The manager wants to help that training, so they'll be listening to some of the calls, maybe even recording some of the calls and playing it back. But a live call, for example, you could whisper in, say, maybe you should say this. If the call gets really complicated, you could barge into the call and help the person out. Our customers also want to see what the call flows are looking like. So are they long calls, one agent to another? Why is one agent spend 5 minutes on a call, another one spending a little bit more? So we've got real-time statistics against using Microsoft Solutions Power BI to pull all those out, and the customer can change those type of reports again very, very quickly.
So these are the kind of functions and features we normally associate with bigger contact centres, right there in Teams. Yeah. So what's AI got to do with that?
Yes, two elements there. If you're making a call out from Connect Pro or receiving one in, the call will be recorded, transcribed, and at the end of the call you get the full transcription, it'll be summarised with resolution. You then can have a look at that, that'll be downloaded almost instantly. And you might want to change some of those notes, but once you've done that in a very small amount of time, copy it, put it into the CRM. That's one element.
And that's all happening automatically in terms of it's transcribed. I'm not having to hit buttons or do anything to turn it on or whatever. So I can see that being pretty useful. And I'm assuming some of the benefits of that being, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm thinking I've got more detail in my notes. I might not make as many mistakes. Have you got?
Yeah, that's a real good one, because we've all done service desk, or a lot of people have done service desk calls. You might have a curious customer, an aggressive customer on there, they want their problem sorted out quickly. You're trying to write the notes down, someone's talking quickly, you might miss a couple of those notes out, and really what you want to be doing is empathising with that customer. So with Connect Pro, because all the transcriptions there and the summaries there, it doesn't miss the notes. They're much more conclusive, and therefore it's much easier, and you're going to get this problem sorted out.
Brilliant. Sounds good. So in terms of kind of the background to this, I'll call it the wider concept. We talk about authentic intelligence within Teleware, and just give us a flavour of what we mean by that when we're using those words.
Yeah, well, everybody wants to talk to someone or something, but be comfortable with it. And we use AI, and it's improved so much. You want to talk in a natural way, and you don't want to be talking to like a robotic thing that you become uncomfortable with. So it's really important that you talk that way. And I think we've mentioned earlier that even in the avatar space, and you want to talk to those in the supermarket, you want it more like a human, so you feel comfortable. I don't know what your view on that is, but that's my particular thoughts on it.
Yeah, well, I think they always call it the uncanny valley, don't they? If something's kind of pretending to be human, but it's not. I think for me, the authentic intelligence means that the customer's at the centre of what we're trying to do,
Yeah.
and it's not about being AI or handled by human. It's about what's best for the customer at the right thing at the right time, and also when it is humans getting benefit of AI, which is interesting in some respects. I know the fear of AI is it's going to replace everybody, and maybe in 10 years' time we'll all be replaced by AI. But I think in the meantime, how do you introduce this stuff without making colleagues afraid that this is the end of their careers?
Most of the service areas are so busy, and quite often in these cases, because they're busy, they can't react against the SLAs that are there. And a lot of these things are the smaller mundane tasks. So what this can do is take away those mundane tasks, so they can concentrate on the customer, which is really important.
Yeah.
And so they're having conversations at a higher level query, but AI may have solved some of the mundane tasks, but it also can gather the information for the person to deal with, but knowing when to come in and having all the background and knowledge to the information, it makes their job much easier.
Is that like when let's say someone called in and I'd answered the call last time and now you've got a call, they've got having that context there to kind of continue that conversation as opposed to starting again, is that what you mean?
Yeah, it's a bit longer story that, but they had that conversation, and I take the second call after AI. I've got all that knowledge of what it is passed over, the customer name, what the problem was. You've got all the information to your fingertips. The amount of times we've all been on calls where you have to start all over again and get so frustrated with AI and humans, and it's using AI to get into the CRM. That information's there, whereas previously a lot of notes are not put there, and they are inaccurate. They're not detailed enough.
Okay, great. So we've been through really some of the problems that people have, how those challenges can be addressed with AI a little bit, what the products and services that Teleware have at a very high level there. So if you had a service manager, one of the people on our webinar today, on a one-to-one, sat in front of them, what's the one thing that you would suggest how they best move forward with this?
Well, first of all, it's have a conversation with us, because what are their problems? Pull out where all the time spent. If it's a CSAT score, which a lot of customer service desks are judged on, why is the service score a little bit lower? Where you're trying to get to it? We could put this service in 20-30 minutes to get them going. Few service prompts to
It's as easy as that.
It's easy as that, and it's a 3 no obligation free trial from that moment onwards. So that's it. But we really need to understand the problems, and that's where we would feel we're strong to just talk through the problems and understand where our solution Connect Pro could help.
Okay, brilliant. Well, I'll bring it to a close there. Obviously, if you want to know more detail about the products and services, we've got some videos on the website, so you can get instant demos there. But I think it's far more valuable to get a real-time demonstration based on your problems and services, your problems that you're seeing at the moment. So if you get in touch with us, we'll set up a live demonstration based on the issues that you're seeing already today. So do get in touch, have a call. The webinar itself has been recorded. If you're obviously registered, you'll get a link to that, so you can watch that again at your leisure or share it with a colleague that may be interested. So with that, thank you very much, Nick, for joining us on that, and thank you everybody for being on the webinar today.
Thank you.